hours and hours I could stay here forever and mend. I am battered, bruised, and broken, all the things I've left unspoken. Here I stand with only stories at the end. Oh, I've journeyed far from home just to be right where you are, so full of hope, despite the newly branded scars. For the first time in a long time, I've got both feet on the ground, and I know that magic's real because I feel it all around. As my voice fades to darkness, I can't bear to part from that joy. For I have been voiceless and I have been left with no choice. I've journeyed far from home just to be right where you are, so full of hope, despite the newly branded scars. For the first time in a long time, I've got both feet on the ground, and I know that magic's real because I feel it all around. For I have been voiceless, my voice will stay in the end. Oh, I have been voiceless and I will be voiceless again. And for hours and hours I could stay here forever and mend. I am battered, bruised, and broken, all the things I've left unspoken. Here I stand with only stories at the end. Oh, I've journeyed far from home just to be right where you are, so full of hope, despite the newly branded scars. For the first time in a long time, I've got both feet on the ground, and I know that magic's real because I feel it all around. As my voice fades to darkness, I can't bear to part from that joy. For I have been voiceless and I have been left with no choice. I've journeyed far from home just to be right where you are, so full of hope, despite the newly branded scars. For the first time in a long time, I've got both feet on the ground, and I know that magic's real because I feel it all around. For I have been voiceless, my voice will stay in the end. Oh, I have been voiceless and I will be voiceless again. And for hours and hours I could stay here forever and mend. I am battered, bruised, and broken, all the things I've left unspoken. Here I stand with only stories at the end. Oh, I've journeyed far from home just to be right where you are, so full of hope, despite the newly branded scars. For the first time in a long time, I've got both feet on the ground, and I know that magic's real because I feel it all around. As my voice fades to darkness, I can't bear to part from that joy. For I have been voiceless and I have been left with no choice. I've journeyed far from home just to be right where you are, so full of hope, despite the newly branded scars. For the first time in a long time, I've got both feet on the ground, and I know that magic's real because I feel it all around. For I have been voiceless, my voice will stay in the end. Oh, I have been voiceless and I will be voiceless again. And for hours and hours I could stay here forever and mend. I am battered, bruised, and broken, all the things I've left unspoken. Here I stand with only stories at the end. Oh, I've journeyed far from home just to be right where you are, so full of hope, despite the newly branded scars. For the first time in a long time, I've got both feet on the ground, and I know that magic's real because I feel it all around. As my voice fades to darkness, I can't bear to part from that joy. For I have been voiceless and I have been left with no choice. I've journeyed far from home just to be right where you are, so full of hope, despite the newly branded scars. For the first time in a long time, I've got both feet on the ground, and I know that magic's real because I feel it all around. For I have been voiceless, my voice will stay in the end. Oh, I have been voiceless and I will be voiceless again. And for hours and hours I could stay here forever and mend. I am battered, bruised, and broken, all the things I've left unspoken. Here I stand with only stories at the end. Oh, I've journeyed far from home just to be right where you are, so full of hope, despite the newly branded scars. For the first time in a long time, I've got both feet on the ground, and I know that magic's real because I feel it all around. as my voice fades to darkness, I can't bear to part from that joy. For I have been voiceless and I have been left with no choice. I've journeyed far from home just to be right where you are, so full of hope despite the newly branded scars. For the first time in a long time, I've got both feet on the ground, and I know that magic's real because I feel it all around. For I have been voiceless, my voice will stay in the end.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our regularly scheduled Monday night stream on Logomancy's channel here. I need no introduction because if you're here, you probably know who I am. But I'm James, and this is my show, gosh darn it. And you're going to notice a handful of gorgeously brilliant people with me. Unfortunately positioned flanking Grace on all sides, but it's okay because they've got really sharp crochet needles to pop anybody if they get out of line.
Which is exactly why I'm not making the joke that is hovering around my mind right now.
It's just flipped. I see now what you mean.
Yes, 100%.
Really funny.
And it's just unfortunately Owen's.
You'll find me at Owen on every place that has Owen.
Yeah. Owens. Let's see if that works. Hold on.
That's so
Son
good.
of a bitch. It doesn't work. All right. It'll be okay. It'll be all right.
One of these things is not like the other.
I just changed everybody's.
I'm just gonna move you over there. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's fine.
Yeah. So thank you, friends, for stopping by. I went to my first PAX like a week plus ago, and my second American convention ever. Because I do the Canadian circuit, but I don't.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was your first either.
Yeah, I don't go with American conventions a whole lot. So
Understandable.
Gen Con was really cool. That's where I met. So Ryan, were you at Gen Con this year?
I was. I think that is where we have walked into many of the same circles online.
Yes.
But I think that was the first time that we had met, and then
Yes.
been physically in the same place.
Mm-hmm. I apologize to the viewers at home for the cobbled together Stardew Valley frames that I use for our cozy commune streams. And yes, Rex, American conventions do tend to be full of Americans, and therefore are better off avoided sometimes.
That is an unfortunate side effect about coming down here for you, huh?
Hey, it could be worse. It could be full of Bostonians.
Oh,
As a
About that.
ride or die Boston Bruins fan, my friend,
Hey, I live down the street from PAX East, okay? I can talk shit about Bostonians because I am
fair.
one.
All right.
I did a 2-year stint in Massachusetts. Does that make it reasonable for me to give that kind of hate?
I do what is it? I follow two hockey teams primarily, Boston and Pittsburgh, because they're never going to meet in the finals because they're both Eastern Conference, and they play two very different kinds of hockey: technical hockey and goon hockey. And sometimes you just want to turn on the TV, turn it on to the CBC, and watch two grown men beat the absolute fuck out of each other.
I mean,
for what it's worth. And then the Penguins play good technical hockey. It's a good time. But we're not here for hockey.
You can wear one jersey in the other town and people might be confused.
That is true.
Because they both run the same color scheme. It's
Yup. But we're not here for hockey. We're here because we all got to share an amazing experience together. And Grace wrote a really bitchin' song that was playing on the intro that I may have been listening to for like an hour straight while I was putting the overlays together.
Were you actually? Oh my god.
Well, I had it already laid out and it was on low and I'm just like, na, 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 na. Alongside some other things that I'm editing together that I shared with you before. But yeah, I was not prepared. So the picture on the overlay is the exact thing I wasn't prepared for because it's like fancy snack cup of hot butter for some reason. Just like
That's horrific.
right.
It's not fun.
This is the true American way.
Right. Random picture of
it
fried.
could have been worse. It could have been deep fried butter.
There is that. I got a couple of like vloggy TikToks that I'm like, hey, we're here at like Green Eggs and Ham. Or sorry, Green Eggs. They decidedly did not have ham on the menu, which I feel is criminal. Absolutely criminal. And I'm like, hey, I'd like some Eggs Benedict, please. And for anybody that's ever had Eggs Benedict, like if you're from Calgary, your Eggs Benedict comes on a waffle because it catches all of the hollandaise sauce and the runny egg, and it's great.
Really?
Yeah, they don't use an English muffin here because the waffle is a more efficient hollandaise delivery system.
I think the eggs must be bigger too.
All the Americans in the call are so upset.
It also depends on the quality of your English muffin, I think, because a proper quality English muffin will have the nooks and crannies necessary
absolutely
to catch the hollandaise and egg yolk as you cut into your thing.
Yeah, but the waffle underneath is very much like a local thing here, and they did it there too, but they also topped it with fried chicken. And I'm like, okay, I'm down to fuck with chicken and waffles. Like, that's fine. But that's not what I asked for.
No, it's not.
And then hollandaise sauce is delicious, right? You get some butter, you get like some hollandaise sauce can have a light cheese content to it as well. Like I'm aware. And what I got was a cereal bowl full of melted butter and melted cheese with unmelted cheese on top.
Oh boy!
And don't get me wrong,
you got the wrong order. I
asked.
I think there was a mistake.
I asked.
Oh
and
no!
I ordered it again a couple of days later because, like, it was good, but it's as good as dipping fried chicken and waffles into a bowl of hot cheese soup as is gonna be, right?
That ain't bad.
When you describe it that way, it's A, significantly less upsetting, and B, actually sounds pretty good.
I was about to confess one of my greatest food sins, or at least according to a lot of the people that I've done this in front of, they claim it's a food sin. I can't do Eggs Benedict without hot sauce. Oh, so like over the hollandaise, it's. Okay, so everyone I've done that in front of is like, how dare you? Like, you would dare impugn a noble hollandaise with your Franks?
Well, all right. So I'll give you that. Like, Frank's is not great, but
how many classical chefs do you eat with normally when you do?
Yeah, you need better friends, Will.
Although. You're right. Frank's is not great, but my favorite local place actually makes their own hot sauce that goes amazing on it. But anyway.
Well, I have a question for the homegrown Calgary side. Is it served with potatoes or not?
Is what served with potatoes?
Your hollandaise and eggs served with potatoes. That way.
Hollandaise and egg.
like sometimes, depending on the breakfast, you'll get it with like hash browns. Sure.
So to me, part of the reason I think that the soaking up is not as big, at least with my friend group, is they dive in potato first into every little bit that is left and soak it in potato wise.
Yeah,
that's the Irish blood in me somewhere, spewing back up.
Well, and that's if you wanted potatoes as a side. You might get fruit as a side. You might get granola and yogurt as a side. You might get all sorts of different things. But I get it. I see how I'm picking up what you're putting down. The long and short of it is, by the end of 5 days of treating my body like I was 20 again, I kept uttering the same phrase over and over, and it was, I can taste the freedom. I can feel the freedom in my veins. And we were at the airport, and it might take a second, but my travel companion found me this fridge magnet, and it says, Philly, taste the freedom. He paid $6 at the airport for this, and it's great. And it's just got like a mangled looking cheesesteak and a pretzel on it.
Every cheesesteak looks mangled. There is no such thing as a tiny.
I was gonna say that you don't have a workbench or something. That shit's got to live on your PC.
Well, no, it's right here. I got a little like thing full of camera gear that desperately needs to be unpacked into. Shit's all around me at this point. But
Benjamin Franklin, back in the day, is thinking, we're signing for freedom for pancakes and waffles and gravy.
No, actually, that's the manifesto of IHOP. Actually,
I keep seeing these things on the internet about goth IHOP, and
excuse me.
Yeah, it's IHOP, but it's just
reference to it. But is it a real thing?
I hope so. I hope that exists somewhere in the world, and someone's getting great both joy and frustration out of it.
Goth IHOP.
It's totally a thing.
Oh my god! This is 1,000% a thing. That's upsetting.
Oh, hey, the picture that's on the thing is my chicken and waffles and hollandaise sauce.
Oh, it did come with fruit. Oh my! I am more surprised it came with fruit.
What the fuck is that?
Right?
That's not.
Right?
That's.
You know, wow. I'm gonna go back a second.
I'm sorry, I dropped an F-bomb. Are we okay to swear on this?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool.
So I'm like, hey, I'd like a bowl of fruit with my food, please. And they're like, let me just powdered sugar the shit out of that for you, bud.
Welcome to America.
America. Yeah. This one, thankfully, did not come with sparklers in it, though.
Was that an issue?
I mean, it's not an issue.
I'll be 100% honest with folks. Like, I can't wait for PAX East, because if people are coming out to Boston for it, I know the good places we're going. Okay.
Yeah.
I like how you got red, white, and blue fruit also. Like, they're jamming the American idea really far in there.
Right.
They could smell the Canadian on
it.
I was wearing like the regalia and like wearing a short sleeve shirt and like, you know, but still, I don't care how you slice it. That is not a cereal bowl full of hollandaise sauce. That is a cereal bowl full of cheese.
That is just cheese soup.
Philadelphia is known for so much good food, and we're so close. The convention's so close to that market that has such a
Reading
diverse.
market,
Reading has, there's so much diverse amounts of food that the great thing is, any convention, you're not going to be bored, or if you don't want to eat the same thing, you don't have to, because there's just so much in there.
You know what? It might have been a bowl of Cheese Whiz, actually. Because that's the thing. Like, so I did not have a chance to actually get a cheesesteak while I was there.
Conceptually so upsetting.
Allegedly, that's the way that like a traditional Philly cheesesteak is made. It's with Cheese Whiz.
Not with
but Eggs Benedict?
I don't know. Maybe it's
that's the Philly way, brother.
Also, that's not how you spell Reading. That's how you spell reading.
No, that's how you spell Reading. You spell it Reading.
I see.
You spell it Reading.
There's a town in Massachusetts called Reading, and it's spelled like that. There's also a North Reading too.
Okay.
Although we also have you know, the whole Dorchester, Worcester, Gloucester thing, and
yes.
The further you get it, Philly is very tame with the seemingly crazy names. The answer to why the names seem crazy is because a lot of them are like Native American and American Indian names, right? But man, are they fucking hard to spell when you need to be able to spell them.
It's much easier to know it if you like as a kid if you had Reading Rainbow, because Reading Rainbow was such a good show.
I will cut someone. LeVar Burton is rolling in his Emmys right now.
Not his Emmys.
So let's start from the right. Will,
Hi.
You want to photo dump me?
Photo dump you?
Yeah, on Discord. Like, send me a fuckload of photos, and I'll throw them into the thing because I got everybody else's other than yours.
Okay, like from PAX?
Yeah.
Because
no,
that
just
is the
normal photos.
Hold on. Hold on.
Casual shots.
You know what? There's like
Tasteful nudes.
Send the
that sort of
selfie
thing.
you put on Instagram this morning.
seriously, I actually, you know, I think I took one picture at PAX East, and it was a selfie.
I like it.
And
I have the selfie that you and I took on the last night.
I made a video because, and I even made it. Excuse me, I've got two here. I'll send them over to you on Discord.
Sure.
The only because I even made a TikTok explaining this effect. I had like three different, like I had like started like one of these things like, oh, here I am at home, and then smash cut to being at PAXU kind of thing. Yeah. I had like 2 or 3 of those stacked in my drafts, and I was so busy hanging out with people, playing games, just enjoying everything about the convention that I didn't have time to make any videos. And
that was me at Gen Con. I walked around doing dumb vlogger shit, being like the people behind me are noticeably pissed off because I'm holding a camera out and talking to the internet.
Yeah.
And this time around, I'm like, I got like 12 places to be right now. I gotta go. So I got some content filmed. We filmed 2 episodes of Roll for Beer.
So on the second picture that I just sent over, ignore the 2 people in the background that are like staring right at me. I took that picture as a frame of reference to meet up with people, saying like, this is where I'm standing. And like, I happened to take it right as 2 people were walking by and like staring right at the camera. I have no idea who they are.
That's funny. I have a selfie with Will. I don't think I sent it in the thing.
I have one as well.
Hang on.
The other one is me in my smoking jacket. So it's...
I have a selfie with you in your smoking jacket added in here somewhere.
Yeah. I think I saw it on the pre-roll there.
Yeah.
Where the fuck you at, Will? Where's that picture? And now I have it. Where'd it go?
Well, honestly, I loved that look. Like, I got so many compliments on that look. I'm seriously considering, especially like since like if I am going to make more video content after the inevitable with TikTok, I'm thinking about starting a new series of like the refined gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Like sort of like sitting in the smoking jacket and the ass out, like, hold on, where's the book? Let's see if I can do this without destroying anything.
God damn it, Owen, you had one job.
But,
did you try to fix it again?
It fixed it, but except for like 3 seconds. There's 3 seconds of just being Owen.
Oh, hello.
Indeed.
Today we are discussing the expansion of the Wild Sea, Storm and Root.
You sound like David Attenborough.
Speaking of the Wild Sea, my good man.
Oh,
Did you know David Attenborough is a necromancer? Richard Attenborough is the necromancer. David Attenborough is the lich.
Okay.
He is.
Because go ahead.
His phylactery is the planet itself, and as long as planet Earth exists, David Attenborough will never die.
That makes sense. I also knew that Sir Terry Pratchett was a sidereal exalted.
Absolutely, and
because there's photo evidence of him wielding a star metal sword, which is the magical material associated with sidereals.
And David Attenborough, of course, the actor who brought us dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, is the necromancer. Look at David Attenborough bathing in his necromantic power, holding his staff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that tracks.
Excuse me. So speaking of the Wild Sea, stories, we talked a little about food. I had so Philadelphia was cool for a couple of different reasons. My buddy Matt, who 2 or 3 of you have met, looked up like what's Philly about, and people were like cheesesteaks and being the loudest city by decibel in America. Like it beats out New York by decibel volume.
It is very loud.
The number one car modification in Philadelphia is making your horn louder. It's not making your car go faster. It's making your horn louder.
There you go.
But really cool music scene. And on Sunday, I went to a mixer put on by MythWorks, who's the publisher for The Wild Sea.
Yeah.
Because we did a live production of The Wild Sea at Gen Con. And one of the creators, like Felix and Ray, are just like gorgeous people.
Yeah.
I got a big bouquet of flowers on stage from them. It was a cool time.
Yeah.
And then I promptly handed it to Sweet Tea and got on a plane because I can't take a dozen roses on an airplane. Like, it's not going to be a thing. They're not going to make it back to Calgary.
I'd be impressed if they did.
Imagine sitting in that seat in the airplane, like everybody looking at you like, why'd you get this?
Everyone else has their tablets or phones out, and you've got flowers.
Right. Somebody beside you is aggressively allergic to like baby's breath or lilacs. But no, so we went to the mixer there at this place called the Velvet Whip. And it's a speakeasy. It's underground. And it says on the site,
oh my,
they're like, we don't post the address. If you're invited, you know where we are. And I'm like, fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not from here.
As a person that has to like know the location and if possible see inside and know the menu, absolute nightmare to get to. I spent an hour trying to figure it out.
Right?
Yeah.
I would cry.
I spent a good portion of the time there just speaking with Ryan's wife and having her lament the differences between American and Canadian healthcare. But the address of like, take an Uber, it'll drop you off in this alleyway and knock on the red storm doors, because I was there before a lot of people. Because I give myself more time. I am autistic and I have ADHD. I need to be on time. I need to know where I'm going. I need to plan ahead.
Brother, let's go.
And so I knock on the door, and a little lady answers it with a clipboard and asks me for my name. And you go down a series of things, and I had a hard time because they're like, find the red storm doors. I'm like, the fuck is a storm door? That's called a root cellar. You guys don't have root cellars here. This is Philadelphia. But
wait, I always thought a storm door was like the flimsy aluminum door outside, like the front door.
No.
Oh no, that's like the one that opens upright, like in a weird angle.
Oh, a bulkhead.
Yeah.
Okay. They're a bulkhead. So I go down, and it's just like suede and like good leather chairs, and then a statue movie prop from Mars Attacks with the eyes replaced so they follow you when you walk past it.
Oh, that's upsetting. I don't like that.
There was a thing on their website that they do jazz shibari shows there, and I was asking one of the people that puts it on, and she showed me you're not supposed to take videos in the place.
Understand. I mean, makes sense.
Yeah, she showed me a representation, and it's a jazz band surrounding a lady being hung up in Japanese shibari, and they're playing to the intensity on her face.
Huh.
And I'm like, all right, that's dope. That was not what was happening tonight. And Ryan,
so this is what we normally do. This is our normal night. Is jazz shibari. Tonight we got a bunch of nerds.
We got a bunch of nerds and dim sum. Ryan, did you see the manga room and the Nerf thing?
I didn't. I was too much of a social butterfly, and I couldn't separate myself from the other stuff. I did hear somebody, I think it was another MythWorks. No, it was one of the people from Plus One EXP was like, I think I broke their 3D printer. And they shot the 3D printer with a Nerf gun while it was mid-print, and evidently it started to go off.
I love the guys from Plus One EXP. I'm so glad I got to meet them this time around.
I love Tony. Tony is so wonderful.
They're great.
We go up these stairs, and one of the hosts, we were there with the ADH Adventures crew, and they're like, is it too loud in here for you? Like, do you need some accommodation? And we're like, we'll check it out. Sure. What do you got? They don't own like the main floor or the second, third, or fourth floor, but they do on the fifth floor of this manufacturing warehouse we're all hanging out under. So you go past the Mars Attack statue and you get in an elevator. And it takes you directly to the fifth floor, and it opens, and there's just an array of Nerf guns. And they're like, and this is the Nerf gun like battlements, and there's like shit to climb over and like hide behind and cover. All the ammunition's in the cabinet, whatever you need. And I'm like, I'm in America. That is a loaded term, my friend. No pun intended.
The way I would have immediately started a Nerf war, though.
Oh God, yes. That
Zero hesitation.
Like I that
they know
I
how,
would have been so torn.
They know how to pick a venue. Oh my
Right.
god!
Seriously,
It was a great venue.
Sliding panel off to the
Okay, but I
side.
raise you. Either East or Gen Con, we could have laser tag.
Right?
Oh my gosh,
That'd be
fun.
so fun.
There's floor to ceiling manga after she opens a sliding door, like a pocket door, and everybody's speaking Italian, and there's just dim sum all over the place. And they switch to English as we're as I step into it, because they noticed us speaking English. So I got to meet the creator of Morkborg for a little while. That was cool.
Wow.
Ooh,
Dang it! I should have gone up. They were there.
And all of the Italian publishing houses that distribute like WotC and Paizo and MythWorks stuff in other languages for Europe, we're all just upstairs, you know, being cool. It was really fucking cool. A really good time.
Nice.
I wish I had gone upstairs now, because it'd been a really fun way to like mess around with the Merkborg people.
Right?
Dang.
But Grace, what was
Yes?
your like best experience of the trip? Like, what was the thing that you're like, I have a cool ass story aside
So
from
I had
performing
a-
on stage?
I had a fucking Disney moment, basically. I made the media room sing on Sunday, and it was the scariest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Coming from somebody that literally like auditioned into musical theater and was going to be an actress, and then didn't get into any acting programs and realized I had a fuck ton of anxiety. So you know, them's the breaks. But other than that, I don't. What's a cool story? What did I do that weekend? I don't know. I got to meet the creators of Good Knock, who I'd met last year. And if you don't know what Good Knock is, it's a deck builder.
Mhm.
And it's one of those deck builders where like everything you need comes in the box, which is my favorite kind of game, because I fucking hate deck building, but I like deck builders.
What if you lose a single card though?
I'd cry. I don't know. But I met them last year, and I backed their Kickstarter at their booth because I liked their game so much, because I got to demo it. And the creators were both there, and so was their artist. And I had because the Kickstarter arrived about a month before, and I went up to their booth and I said, "Hi, I was one of your Kickstarter backers. I met you guys last year. Can you sign this old promo card that I got from PAXU last year?" And they were very excited to see their old promo stuff. So I have a card. It's not on my desk because I was busy crocheting a squirrel before we started, but I can grab it while somebody else talks. I have a card that's signed by one of the creators and the artist for Good Knock, and that's pretty cool.
I like it.
Awesome.
There's a lot of so by Sunday I had zero fear left in my body, apparently. Or at least I was tired enough to not have any fucks to give. So I walked versus the rest of the con, I was going up to booths and I was just like, "Hi, can you tell me about everything?" I walked up and I was just stuck my hand out and I was just like, "Hi, my name is Grace. I'm a TTRPG content creator. Tell me about your shit." Like,
I like it.
zero fucks left to give on Sunday. Which apparently makes me a very confident person. Somebody else talk. I'll go grab stuff like everyone else was doing very professionally before the stream.
Ryan, what about you? What was the coolest shit?
Cool as shit. One, I forgot to grab it, but it's upstairs. I did a battle royale with Thunder Wizard Games at a local Philly game store with Smoking Glue Guns, Johnny from Talking XP, Nerdy. Is that it? Who am I missing? I'm missing one person. There's like a void in my brain. No, that is
the
it's
picture
Whitney
will
from
come
Smoking
around.
Glue Guns. Yeah, it's Whitney from Smoking Glue Guns. Nerdy or Nerd Rocks and Johnny for talking. I won the level 20 battle royale. Everybody was very angry because I played to win, not for flash. I used greater invisibility and I used blink, and I was about to use mirror image at various points. I was not to be found, nor seen, nor heard of the entire game unless I was shooting you with something. That was a ton of fun. The other really cool experience at PAX is I got like a taste of this at Gen Con, just a taste. Like I had like 2 people recognize me at Gen Con, and it was like very thrilling. I actually had quite a few people recognize me at PAX Unplugged, which was not something I was expecting at all. And that was like, I was very chuffed about that. I was like, oh, people are so nice. They like my content. That's so sweet. But I think that those moments I think are like the top ones that stick out in my mind.
We were standing in line in Reading. Oh, that's awesome.
There's the card. Good Knock's really cool. First of all, I like that everything's square. I don't know, it just tickles something in my brain. Like even all the card sleeves they have like custom card sleeves too that are all square. I don't know. I like squares. It's a good shape apparently. But yeah, I brought this out in a card sleeve, and I was just like, "Hi, I have one of your old things." They had Griff dog plushies where you could adopt one, and if you scan it, they were very, very cute plushie, very not cute personalities. Once you scanned it, you like got to find out all the information and stats on your Griff dog. So I like scanned it, and I was really excited about it, and I opened it, and I opened the link, and I get, "This is a bloodthirsty warrior." And I was just like, well, it's okay. He's still a little guy. I got a cranium rat, which I kind of forgot about until I turned around and I saw him on my bed.
Oh, I love it.
They were across from the Storyteller Squad, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever. And you can unzip him, and you can either use him as a dice bag, or you can just kind of make his guts spill out.
Oh.
I thought it was the funniest thing ever.
I'm reminded because of the picture on the screen of all the donuts. So the guys from Dodeca Donuts were awesome. And
oh yeah,
hey, look at those people.
And yeah,
just wearing donut shirts. They my business partner for Logomancy, David, is a lone donut on the internet, and I couldn't not bring him back a donut dice tray. And I didn't notice until after I'd gotten home that they had t-shirts and it says ADHD, attention deficit, hey donuts. And I'm sad because I didn't take one home.
I'm sure they have I'm sure they have them on their website.
We're gonna do some podcasting together. So
there you go.
Nice.
Yeah. And what about you? What was your top cool moment?
It's interesting because I do a lot of different things at PAXU because I do TTRPGs, but I do a lot of content towards board games and donuts, actually. So I got to meet Andy. I held an event where I just told a bunch of people on the internet to come to Federal Donuts on Saturday morning, have a donut before going to PAX. And I got to have a lot of folks just show up, meet, chat, and network and chat with one another, which is why I like doing this, because I love seeing people make connections and have fun with each other. So that was awesome, and a lot of people that I met also after meeting you came to that. So I think I made a really nice friend out of Alex, who is working on his AI assistant tool and it was great to connect to him. And we walked around quite a bit and did a lot of different things over the course of the weekend, which was cool. I think my biggest thing is I came into this because I also play since Gen Con, a wrestling card game, Super Show. And I
played that. It's super good.
Yeah, if you go to any of these conventions, they are the loudest, most energetic group all the way through the night, especially because they are treating their card game like you're in a wrestling match. And it is
oh, that's cute.
It is for personality's sake. It is over the top in exactly the right way. So I picked up the game a little bit when I went to Gen Con, but I've been playing with some of these folks online, and I'm big into wrestling. I have my own wrestling personality that I created for this whole thing. So first thing I did on Friday morning, I walked in with one of those see-through, can't see it face masks with my crown on. And so I went to their demo table and I had that on. I said, hey, just give me a demo of the game. And I ripped off the mask and challenged one of them to a match like I was a wrestler from the indies. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
And
I like it.
The best thing, they're really cool people. Like, to me, this is a game that the game's really fun, but the community of people that I got to meet and spend time with, God, they're wonderful people too. So it's people who play wrestling across the country on the internet or at home, and yeah, they are fun to meet along the way.
Not just for trampolines and hurting yourself as a child anymore.
Exactly.
And some of the people who do this are indie wrestlers, so they've evolved off the trampoline and probably could put me in a pretzel for Philadelphia, whatnot, along the way.
I love it.
I do need everyone to know, and everybody in this call knows, but when Owen was telling us in the little attendees server that James made, literally he was like, I am known by some as the donut influencer, and then gave us the whole spiel, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
That's the first time I got called that was at Gen Con this year and I'll tell you what, I did not know how to feel about that. But since then, it is like a big part of what I do, since fun for anybody who doesn't know, I cover donuts across the country and out of country too. And so we talk about donuts. We do all sorts of random things. My kids enjoy like so much because of the things I got into.
I love it.
I mean,
fun fact: Alex's tool is unfortunately branded AI, but it's not actually AI. It's just predictive intelligence, and I'm also going to use it soon. For context, he wrote a dictation tool, and it needs to just be called the stenographer. That's it.
Yeah.
No, it rather than we were talking about this at dinner on Thursday, and it's like in the industry that we're in, don't include AI in the title of your product, because even though it's not, it's just like PI. It gives people the ick, right? And what the tool does is you hit record, it listens to your session, and it makes a wiki about it.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like in session 34 of season 2, what was the name of that city we were in? What was the name of that shopkeeper? Hold on, let me look it up. Oh, it was this. Here you go. That's
Just
it. Like that's
eyeing
the
my giant notebook stacked next to me.
And I gave him the name that's used for it in education. So it's the same for adaptive technology there. It's just use this one. This is established and nobody's going to get angry about it.
Yeah.
Go with that.
This is Dragon medically speaking with less steps. Yeah. Will, what about you? What was your favorite thing that came out of this, or your favorite thing that you got to eat? You're from this place, so like that's less of a stretch.
I mean this place.
Well,
this place,
East Coast America,
the Northeast, American Northeast. That's
okay.
That's so Ryan mentioned Nerdy, and I ran into him
I love him so much. He's awesome.
Here's the funniest thing though, because he and I are mutuals on TikTok. And I've invited him to play in some of the actual plays that I've run and stuff like that. Schedules never worked. But more than that, I listen to his music like all the time.
Yeah.
So that is like in my head, that is the context that I know him as, So when I'm walking across the con floor, my brain says like, Nerdy, holy shit, that's Nerdy. Wait a minute. We're mutuals on TikTok. Oh yeah, he knows who I am. Oh yeah, how's it going? Then it goes immediately from like, oh my god, nerd out to nope, play it cool. This is everything. We're just gonna have a normal conversation like content creators, because that's what we're both in the same thing. We're just different levels. It's fine. But no, God, there was that. There was we were talking about MythWorks earlier. And you met Ray and Felix are just fantastic human beings. Ray was actually in a Wild Z actual play that I did a couple of years ago.
Nice.
And like we were like I was running I ran the game they were barely out of Kickstarter. Like I only had the PDF and just fell in love with the game. It's like, let's get this going. He reached out to me over TikTok. I was like, do you guys want in? Like, because I would love to have someone that has like some behind the scenes knowledge of it in the game. And so obviously MythWorks, it's hard to say they've blown up, but they're definitely doing very well right now, publishing multiple games. And so Friday when I got to Friday when I got to the con, first thing I did was make a beeline for the Onyx Path booth because I knew they were going to be there, and I was hoping against hope that they were going to have physical copies of the Sidereal's book for Exalted 3rd edition. They did not. I was a little bummed. Played a demo of Curseborn anyway. And then went around the corner to MythWorks, and Ray is there just saying, hey, what's up? And like he like stops what he's doing to give me a hug and says, hold on a minute, and starts running around the booth and grabs like physical copies of Wildsea and Storm and Root and like the 3 mini supplements and the Firefly screen and the dice and just like the whole thing, just throws them into my hands and says, thank you. You were supporting us back when like no one else was.
Wow.
And the other cool part is, so he made sure to point this out to me. In the expansion book, Storm and Root, I was in a one-shot that Felix ran. And we were going through describing our characters, and I described my character as wearing a sleeveless trench coat, and just as like, as a style thing, right? And then so he grabs Storm and Root, opens it up, and opens up to page 69. Nice. And at the top in the middle, bloodline aspects for the Ardent, Vench coat, a long sleeveless jacket made to catch wind in a dramatic fashion, increase impact when making impressive or unexpected entrances, and resist damage that would normally be caused by falls or landings.
I love it.
Cute.
I have a canon item in this game.
I love it.
Awesome.
Hey,
feel
how
like
does it feel to be Santa Claus?
Awesome. I feel like we almost have a MythWorks story because I have one as well from this convention too. First off, I went to the BIPOC event with friends who were putting it on, and so hang out with Sweet Tea and his wife that I'm friends with, and be able to like, I wanted to go and thank them the next day.
You can see on screen right now all of us playing Magic with the organizer of the BIPOC event, Vixie from Pocket Dragon Pub.
Yeah. And I love making, like, I really want to tell them thank you for like sponsoring the event, talk about Wildsea a bit, because I talked to Will about Wildsea and about this experience. So like, I want to go learn more. I haven't played the system, so I went over to go talk to them and talked about content, talked about what I do online. They're like, why don't you take a copy of Wildsea with you? And I'd love to talk it out, create a few creators and things like that. So they brought a couple of their writers over, and we were chatting. And I was introduced, thanks to our inviter here, as the Canadian content creator, which I had to quickly and deftly say, not exactly. Upstate New York, it's okay. We're really close to Canada. But they were just, that was wonderful. I think Slug Blasters, by the way, is going to be awesome. I walked through that. That looks like a lot of fun.
The thing that I really
did any of you go to Brother Ming? They have a game that they released that is so they're the booth that had like all the huge anime like Genshin artwork. So
I saw them.
they I got a copy of their game, and this was the first thing I did at PAX actually. They have a game coming out they have a game coming out. They have a game that's out. That's called it's called React. And the entire like gameplay loop of it is basically just stacks in Magic, essentially. And it's actually like, I think it could be a really cool way of teaching stacks, because I didn't really know how stacks work, but I was just kind of nodding and going along with it. And it was very easy to pick up. The whole thing is built on reaction chains. So you are an artist. So there's like a calligrapher, there's an animator who I need to play so badly. I don't have the box in here because it's on my dining room table getting ready for a video later this week. But content.
Tell me about it.
But you pick a type of artist. So we played the dancer and the calligrapher. and each artist has different abilities, and you're trying to put 3 cards together in order to make your masterpiece. And
Mhm.
once you create your masterpiece, you can ascend. So I was playing the dancer. The dancer summons a bunch of beta fish, basically, that can attack your enemies, and they're great. And I named them all Mr. Fish because I was very sleepy. So Ming was a very
Nice.
good sport about it. He thought it was hilarious. But the thing that caught my eye when I got when they got the media email was that they were an all Asian like company.
Mhm.
And I'm hi, I'm Asian. I was born in Korea. I was adopted, and I'm also an immigrant. So Ming and I actually ended up talking about like our experiences being immigrants and our experiences being like nerds and what got us into wanting to make art. And React is Ming's first original IP, and it's a really fun game. They've done Genshin, they've done Fire Emblem, and like a couple other things, I think. Highly recommend. It's a very fun game. I think it's like I feel like I'm just giving the pitch for React now. But
I'd love to
sounds
give it a
fun.
go.
but, like, I talked about it so much that Giuseppe literally went to their booth and went, "Hi, Grace was talking up so much about this game. I want to try it now."
Nice. That's Modern Artifice, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Giuseppe is modern artist.
So I got to meet Giuseppe in a sit-down interview with WotC at Gen Con to join their creators program with Dixon back when it was Dixon. And we just like sat and shot the shit for an hour. It was a really good time. Just like
Giuseppe is a lovely human.
yeah.
Love
Yeah.
Giuseppe.
I had 2 like big time close encounters on
Mhm.
Sunday, of course, when my brain is completely jelly. I'm like, and this was Sunday evening, okay?
Yeah.
Like my brain is jelly. I'm at the Marriott bar. I have 6 hours to kill between now and when my train leaves, right?
I was there with you. Yes.
Yes.
I
That's
recall.
where we
So,
met,
I
Will.
was- I was there considerably before anybody else. I left the con at like 4:30 because I was toast. Like I'm just gonna go check. I've already checked out of my hotel. Let me go get my stuff. I'll just hang out at the Marriott, whatever. And I pull into the Marriott and I sit down at one of the tables and I hear this group talking behind me. And I turn around like very quickly because I turned around and then immediately turned back around to not draw attention to myself because it was the Legends of Evantris guys.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I met them Thursday.
Chuckles
They
the
are
Clown and
lovely.
And I was too, like I said, too brain jellied to like introduce myself to say like, hey, how's it going? And just like, even like, can I get a selfie or something? It's the other one towards the end of that evening, there was like a couple of Commander games that had broken out. So,
Mhm.
and I'm standing watching one of them, and there's this woman. I start talking to her. We're like just sort of chatting, but just commenting on like, oh, these are the decks I like, commenting on the game as it's happening, and ask her if she's a content creator like myself. And she says, kind of, not really. I made this show, the 20-Sided Tavern. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. Just the woman who came up with it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and once again, brain jelly. I'm an actor. I'm a content creator. I am a gamer. Like, I could have said, like, oh yeah, by the way, I know you're based out of New York City and therefore have an entire arsenal of better qualified actors than me to do this. But
However,
I'm just in Boston and a huge fan and could very quickly make my way to Manhattan if I needed to.
It's interesting that you say that. So my buddy Matt is not a content creator. He's just been to PAX a couple of times. And he's like, yeah, I'll share a hotel room. Let's go. I'll be your cameraman. It'll be okay. Because we did recorded a bunch
friend. That's a good friend right there.
and he's in his late 40s. Like, that was asking a lot of a person. And he's like, here's the thing. You're gonna be real polite. And you're gonna be like, this is Schloopy Doop 69. And we did a thing one time. And like that's like Tits McGee 47 over there, and we're gonna like play some TTRPGs in the future. And he's like, and you're gonna be real sincere about it. And here's the thing, I just don't give a fuck. I don't watch the internet things. They're lovely people, and if they're kind and nice, I will be like kind and nice and polite, and we're gonna have good conversations. But I'm not gonna remember. That is an excellent wooble.
Peeled
Yes.
squirrel.
I mean, to be fair, we all are in this space, and it can be very hard to keep up with everybody's handles, faces, and real names.
And real, I mentioned this to Owen earlier. I'm like, I don't know if I ever learned your real goddamn name. And I had to go back into our PAX Unplugged Discord. I'm like, when did you introduce yourself? How did you introduce yourself? Let me look.
Ryan, I think we've been mutuals for like 8 months, and you still had to tell me who the fuck you were when we were sitting next to each other in the media room.
See,
and that's the thing. I recognize you way more now on a screen than I did in person, which I think is perfectly emblematic of the decay of the human community, but also like I think I'm used to seeing people in a certain context, and it's like this far away from my face.
This is also why I took. So every time that I meet somebody, and they're like, "I'm Schloopy Doop 69."
Nice.
So like on screen right now,
name.
you've got the owner and the marketing director for MythWorks and Jasmine, and I take a selfie with everybody because I'm like, cool. When we're talking about working with each other, either through Make-A-Wish or through Child's Play or for like trans empowerment, or like on my own channel. And I'm like, cool. What's your Discord? We'll match up. And I send the selfie that I take, and I'm like, for context, because you too have spoken to 1,000 people. My name is James. This is where we talked. Here you go. And so many people were like, this is a really good idea. Are you autistic? And I'm like, yeah, but like you didn't have to say it that way.
Those two questions should not be related, right?
But it is, and it matters because they're like, I'm stealing this immediately because I have. Hey, look at that man right there.
I can't remember, but somebody said that they have like a Google Sheets with pictures, names, handles, and names. Was that you?
That's insane.
And business cards.
That's so cool, though.
So I take a picture of everybody's business card, and then I paste the
has a system.
I paste the picture in the sheet, and then it goes into Mr. Dumpster Fire right here. Because this is where the business cards live. You showed
me this picture, and I was like, "That's really cool." I had a friend I wanted to 3D print that.
Mine live in the box that my D&D Converse came in.
Yeah,
because it's a mimic, and I thought it was funny.
So
solid.
Aside from the whole like Velvet Whip thing, which was super super cool.
Still
the
a
pictures
wild
that
name and still a wild business practice, but all right, continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I went to see Streetlight Manifesto on Saturday night because I needed the ska.
Yes, of
and they don't tour up here because it's a whole lot to ask somebody to come up this way when you're like from New York adjacent areas, right? I forgot my loops. And I went to a very incredibly loud ska show with like this place was packed floor to ceiling. It was packed. And I bought the coolest shirt possible, which is like a baseball tee that says Streetlight Manifesto. It has a tiger in glasses and a tie with a pocket protector that says super cool music for nerds. And I was walking around on Saturday night at the Marriott, and I can't hear shit because the tinnitus is real.
Sure.
And I have no voice left because I've been screaming at the top of my lungs for 3 hours straight, trying to overpower horns. And I hear from behind me tangentially, because again, my hearing's blown out. Holy shit, that's a cool fucking shirt. And I turn and I see all 5'7" of Jerry Holkins pushing people out of the way and beelining across the Marriott bar floor at me. And my one regret of that conversation is the selfie exists on his phone and not mine. Because he's like, how do you know about Streetlight Manifesto? And I'm like, I just came from their live show an hour or two ago. And he's like, you fucking what? Tonight?
Yeah.
The hell? But it turns out that I know one of the folks that runs Child's Play, and we're gonna get together and sit at a table together and do some stuff with the Yak folks. So it's gonna be really cool.
Nice.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
If you're for whatever reason unfamiliar with what loops are, they're earplugs that are really great if you have sensory stuff. Mine live on a pair of earrings because I almost lost them.
Extremely cool idea.
I almost lost them I almost lost them at Ren Fair last year, and I said never again because I was fumbling to get them out of the case.
Mhm.
And so now every con I've been to since Ren Fair last fall, Etsy motherfuckers, if you need a pair of these, I'm trying to get a dice maker to make me dice earrings that have the little attachment so I can have them.
I might be able to hook you up. We've got a dice earring maker that partners with the show.
I got so many.
Now, Ryan, I know you got to run here shortly, but before you take off, what was the single best thing that you ate in Philadelphia on this trip? Because the stuff that we had at Yards was actually pretty good. Those cheesesteak egg rolls were actually really solid.
This might be kind of wild. The best single bite of PAX Unplugged, I went to Chili's and got a triple dipper. I haven't been to Chili's as a kid. I got a Nashville hot like cheese stick thing. And there, Whitney from Smoking Glue Guns took a picture.
I love Whitney.
Them at Dernesque and my wife. And there is a picture of me like stretching this bad boy out like 3 feet, like as far as my arm can go, maintaining the cheese pull. Greatest bite of the entire con. A very, very close second we went to, was it Gus's Steaks in Reading? And that place just knocked the socks. It was so
that's
good.
where I got a cheesesteak from, was Gus's.
Yeah.
It was
great. So good.
It was the second best meal because we went to a place called Sankeys, which was Peking duck. And for $17 a person, I could not fit more food in my body.
Oh, that's
$17?
Awesome.
That's not bad at all.
We were going to go to this ramen place. We were in Chinatown, just like on foot. We clocked 25 kilometers a day. And this ramen place was just like, it's a 35-minute wait and there's 30 people out the door. And we're like, all right, not doing that. And this place was just down the street and it had a bunch of open tables and nothing was in English. And I'm like,
that's a
good sign.
I Googled it and they're like 4.9 out of 5 stars on Google. All right, good enough for me. Somebody in here speaks English. This is going to be just fine. And I'm like, I want Peking duck and I'd love like noodles and rice and stuff, please. Szechuan cooking if you can. And the lady's like, abso-fucking-lutely. You just sit right here and I will get you food. And it was just awesome. Really cool. Awesome. So, Grace.
Yes.
Ryan, I know you got to run.
I got to run. It was so great talking to y'all. I'll catch up with y'all a little bit later.
See you, Ryan.
Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye, buddy. Bye-bye. Grace, what was the best thing that you got to eat?
So I was bad. I already am very not good at feeding myself, as in general. And I realized by Sunday that like I don't think I really had like a full meal for basically most of the convention. I was like, and I was feeling it too. I was just like, oh, that's part of the reason I don't feel great. Yeah, if you ever see me at a convention in the future, force feed me, please.
That's fair.
There's a high chance I forgot to eat something other than peanut butter crackers.
We stopped. Go ahead.
I do weddings as like an outside gig kind of thing. The only thing I tell couples is you please remember to eat. It's like a convention. It's the same exact way. Is that you go through the whole thing and you forget food exists in most ways.
Yep.
You can see the picture on screen on stream. I got to try Shake Shack for the first time.
I love Shake Shack. Let's go.
The shake,
all right,
mid. The burger, solid. Like that's a
fries,
good solid burger.
Peak.
They're French fries. Like they tasted like French fries, but
I mean, you do come
burger,
from the land of poutine.
Yeah, poutine. We also got mochi nut.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like a Japanese donut place, and that was a good fucking donut. Oh
Yes, it
man,
is.
like
It is.
highly recommend. There's a bar. It's a little ways away from the convention, but it's called the Tattooed Mom.
Mhm.
And it is a great name, right? Fantastic food. Absolute vibes. I went there last year with Tim the Blue Man and a bunch of other people on a whim on Saturday, and it was fantastic. I
Tim was
fucking
very
love
kind.
Tim. Tim is great. Tim's also a Philly local, so if you ever want like places to go, Tim was the one who was just like, "Nah, we're going here."
Yeah.
So,
Will, this gentleman whose name escapes me that's on screen had a smoking jacket to rival your own.
Is he wearing it right there? Or
yes,
because that is like the smoking jacket I have was entirely homemade. My mom made it for me for a show that I did a couple years ago, and I've just gotten more costume use out of it than
this was
that one
custom
show.
tailored through like head to toe.
Yeah,
with a matching pants and shoes.
That's if smoking jacket becomes my my MO, if that becomes my brand, then yeah, I will absolutely be getting one of that ilk.
Nice.
We have
Owen, what was the best thing that you ate? And was it a donut?
I was gonna say
see, this is where you get in trouble as a food reviewer, is that one thing that you're known for. I love the donuts in Philly, but I've been to Philly a long time, so I feel like I classify a bit. Actually, I went into Reading Terminal, and the power of TikTok, as long as we have it, there was a chef from the terminal who was advertising, "Hey, if you're going to PAX, come in, have some food."
Oh, that's so smart.
Yeah, it also was. It's Rocky Week in Philly when we were there, and so they were offering both PAX specials and Rocky specials. And the Rocky special looked really good. They're the place that is the butcher's kitchen, butcher's market in Reading Terminal. They do chicken cutlets. The chicken cutlet had Rob on it. It had egg that oozed in. It had a few other vegetables on it. It was delicious. It was so good apparently because again, a lot of places basically had an all-time like high in terms of sales this weekend. That was one of the fun things that came out of Philly with this. They ran out of the bread they normally serve this on. So you're supposed to get it on a sub roll, and I got it on this really big round brioche roll, which did not deter from the experience at all.
That was the only thing that I didn't like about the cheesesteak that I got from Gus's, is it was on like a sesame hoagie, and I'm like, this feels like a strange choice, and it like everything else is the perfect blend, and then suddenly sesame seeds. And I'm not against sesame seeds. It felt like suddenly Big Mac
an attack
in my mouth or something, right? But what about you, Will? Food.
So I am a bit of a food geek. However, my one thing I did know going into PAX weekend is that I was on a kind of a strict budget.
Yeah.
So I basically my diet, like I did a raid of the Trader Joe's across the street there, and that basically made up my meals. And the hotel that I was staying at did free breakfast, so like that was most of it. The only two things that I got like out to eat, three things. I had a burger at the Marriott, like the last night we were there, or I was there. I got a gyro at the at Reading Market. Solid gyro, but I'm not gonna lie, and I feel just as much hometown pride as I do shame when I say this, but I think the best thing that I consumed that weekend was I was in I did a one shot with Gehenna Gaming for Eldritch Automata, which by the way, Eldritch Automata, fucking brilliant game.
I got to meet them. They're so great.
My buddy Zach was running the Gehenna booth or working it this year.
The game is brilliant. I cannot wait for the full version to get out. Pre-order it now. Not sponsored. Just love the game.
That's what I need to do today.
So but the one shot was like 4 hours or so, something like 4 or 5 hours, something like that. So about halfway through, they say like, all right, let's get a 10-minute bio break in. And I'm sitting here, it's like 11 o'clock. So well past breakfast, don't have time to get a lunch. And then I fire up like, okay, what's nearby? Wait a second. There's a Dunkin' Donuts across the street.
I got to try Dunkin' Donuts for the first time.
And I have the Dunkin' app on my phone, so I can fire up the order right here. It'll be ready by the time I get here. And in the 10-minute bio break that we have right now, I can go across the street, grab a Dunkin's, grab a coffee and brisket hash thing scramble at Dunk's. Come back. That's how you know I'm from Boston. I call it Dunk's. and be back in time to play a game again. And for some reason, not being in Boston, that coffee just hit different.
I got to try
after a weekend full of like mediocre hotel coffee. Dunkin' Donuts was just like, oh, yeah, okay, yep, this is home. This tastes like home.
It's like what some people think Tim Hortons is to Canadians, but Tim Hortons is swill. It is garbage. It is trash.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you ask me around here, like if you ask me here, like if I go down the block and this is Boston, like you can't swing a dead cat without hitting 3 Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay. So it is like a Tim Hortons then.
Yeah. But once again, if you give me an option, give me the option here and say like, all right, you can get Dunkin' Donuts or you can get these other like smaller coffee places, I'm going to one of the other smaller coffee places because it's going to be better coffee. But for, like I said, whatever reason, away from home, and it's like a little reminder of like it's a home comfort thing.
It's the bare minimum. It's like
the further south you get, the fewer Dunkins there are, so then they become a rarity.
So
it's like a southerner moving to Boston and then going back to Waffle House.
I got to try just a regular glaze, like a chocolate glaze, and
it's just been the trip of Canadian man tries American foods.
I felt it in my blood for certain.
I'm sure.
And then like a sour cream. So
nice. I do like your array there. That's a good setup for a Dunkin'. I cannot talk about Dunkin' anymore because I'll get trolled now if I talk about Dunkin' online with what I do. Like Duck Donuts comes in and says like, well, when are you coming down here? None of you exist by me. So like
Duck Donuts has some pretty good donuts.
We used to have a Krispy Kreme up here, calling out to chat, but we don't have Krispy Kremes here anymore. We also don't have Taco Bells here anymore. And
not the Taco Bell, says the person who's never had it, but
it is not Mexican food.
No, it's
distinctly
not.
It is not.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't
it is
look
not. It is
good, and yet my friends are obsessed with it, and I'm like,
it is.
Okay?
I was at Gen Con, and I realized that I hadn't eaten for like something like 12 hours. And I got back to my hotel room after a very, very long day. It's 2 a.m, and I'm like, all right, I just need food. And I load up I think it's called Uber Eats or something.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, all right, food. No, Taco Bell. Oh, I haven't had Taco Bell in years because they all closed down up here. And I'm like, they're like, do you like cheese wrapped in more cheese, wrapped in like a tortilla and then dipped in a ornamental tote bag full of salsa and then wrapped in a donut surrounded by a pizza full of soup? Absolutely. For $7.99, send that right now.
Good experience. Cheese and more cheese.
And I got it, and it did not disappoint. I felt disgusting, but it was everything I needed it to be. And I got a Pepsi with it. Just like I'm like, I need calories, I need sugar. I haven't eaten all day.
I don't think I was prepared for the ornamental tote bag. Sorry, I'm stuck.
The soda there hits so differently because of the high fructose corn syrup you put in everything, where I'm like, why is this so fucking delicious all of a sudden? Why do I feel the need to have 5 of these? And
This is why they have their own Mountain Dew flavor, because they've distilled that flavor of fructose into a citrus kind of thing, and now that's our flavor. Eat that with your taco and try not to enjoy your life.
The best description of the Mountain Dew flavor I have ever heard was from Homestar Runner, when Strong Bad described Mountain Dew as being allegedly citrus flavored.
It's like, have you guys heard of bubbly before?
Yes.
Okay, so the best description I've ever heard of bubblies is that imagine you're in a room and there's a TV on, but it's just doing the static thing next to a bowl of fruit. That's what bubblies taste like.
Yeah, that's LaCroix. Look, we get the same jokes about LaCroix.
The best thing I've ever heard about LaCroix is it sounds like somebody is whispering the name of the fruit from 5 rooms over.
Right? Yeah. No, I definitely, I'm glad I went to PAX Unplugged because it was significantly smaller and more manageable than Gen Con was. That was just, it was overwhelming, especially having never been to an American convention and going by myself, right? At least with PAXU, I had a traveling buddy who like followed around for the most part. But like if I was running a game for 4 hours, he wasn't going to stick around. I ran some charity games. The people in the, did you guys go, like, Will, you were outside the PTI area.
Yes.
I stopped and said hello during a pee break.
Right. Yeah, that's I was just getting out of the dance class that Alec ran.
I was running Oops All Goblins on Friday and Sunday. And the folks that showed up to play that game, I was not prepared for them doing character art for all of their characters at the table.
Oh wow.
It was very, like, it's on the roster. It's adorable. Also, the picture that's up there on the stream that I paused is the front door to the Velvet Whip. It is just some storm doors on the side of a sidewalk in an alley.
I would be so scared to go there alone.
Yep. It was in not something to joke about, but the first night that we were there, Matt and I were just walking around and he's like, I'm getting real like SA vibes walking in this part of town, and we are both sizable men. Like I'm no slouch, but it was pretty intimidating. And when I got dropped off, hey, look at that person who's also in chat and was also going to join us tonight, but had a session 0. And now I'm not sure if Kate's doing a Khaleesi or not, but who's that person? Who is it? Who could it be? But no, we did a sizable amount of walking around, but hung around the PTI area primarily. And in the PTI area, which was the PAX Together intersection, so it's for minority creators, folks who are backing different fundraisers, working for charity. I got to meet the folks from Dots Dice. And I don't know if you guys got to see these, but these are Braille dice that they're doing. Yeah.
Yep.
And we work with a couple of different charities that look like that have a handful of visually impaired folks with them. So I'm going to try these out with folks that I know would appreciate the heck out of them. And if it turns out that they're serviceable, they're very, very heavy, so you can actually like lay a light touch down and read them. If it works out well, then we're going to end up backing them and doing a bunch of fundraising stuff for them.
That's awesome. We were talking a little while ago, and I frantically made one because I didn't have one on hand because I don't know what happened to the one that was sitting on my desk. But we were talking about how like giving people context and helping them remember you, and sending them things. This is mine. And you've maybe seen these around on social media, but I make these tiny little origami dragons that I hand out.
I have one around here from Friday. I want to say Friday.
Did I run into you and not realize it?
Yeah.
Shit. I'm so
all good.
sorry.
all good.
Guys, I'm really good at this. But yeah, I hand out tiny little dragons. And they're very fun. But I had like 400 going in. By the end of by the middle of Friday, I had like 200 left.
Did you set them free?
I did. I still have a good chunk left because at some point, apparently, I forgot to keep handing them out. So Ryan never got one, despite sitting next to me for like an hour in the media room.
I took the remainder of the Canadian flag pins, like these ones, and handed them out because they were made by a company that I'm not going to support anymore, but I'm never going to let anything go to waste. And
Hey,
I'm
there you
like,
go.
I have these pins. I'm going to give them out to people, just like walking around, because I found a creator here up in Edmonton, and she does licensed merch in earrings and hair berets and tie
Ooh.
clips and cufflinks. And so we're shopping around, and she's like, I have these Legend of Zelda earrings. They're like $10 a pair. And they're nice, and they're solid. They're a surgical steel. And I'm like, how many can you do hair berets of like my Logomancy logo? Because I want to take 250 of them to a con and just be like, have a thing that isn't a pin and that isn't a sticker. That people, you just need hair berets, and sometimes you just need a tie clip, and sometimes you just need like cufflinks. Cufflinks are a little bit of a harder sell, but I can do a tie clip because anybody can just like clip it onto their badge or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
The big thing this year was ribbons.
Yes.
I had a couple. My ribbons fell off of my fucking badge. Actually, it's how many I had. But I had a couple boots give me a big stack of ribbons because they were like, "You have a really big ribbon chain."
Yes.
I had a bunch of people like giving out pins.
Yeah.
That were and like not just like the little like buttons like the Logomancy ones, like full on like enamel pins.
Yep.
Like these are things that like at past conventions would have been like $10-15.
Yep.
And they're just giving them out this year. That's
I
had a lot of booths give me pins.
Yeah.
They were like, "You're a content creator here," and I was like, "Ugh."
I think I've got I've got one here from Child's Play. It's one of the little like
Ooh.
it spins and it moves.
oh wow.
Yeah.
I have one like that from I got from the Evergreen Borough for spending like $200 at their booth at MomoCon
nice.
last year.
So I always I only pack carry-on when I fly.
Mhm.
I will not check a bag. It's not like if whether I have a layover or not. It's just not a thing. Especially because I pack like that stereotypical man on TikTok where they're like, "What are you taking? Probably a flannel, maybe some shoes. How many shoes? What kind of shoes? Like the shoes that I'm wearing? Well, what if you get hot? Then I guess I'll be hot. What if you get cold? I guess I'll do up a button. Like it's fine." So that's how I pack. So I had like 80% of the stuff in my suitcase was camera gear and like lights and boom poles and things like that.
I frequently end up having, if I fly, I drove this year to PAXU. I'm not going to say what city I live in just because it's ridiculously easy to find me, unfortunately, because of my current job. But I drove to PAXU this year, which means I really just kind of like had like 4 giant ass fucking tote bags of stuff that I just tossed in my car and went, "Welp." But when I went to Gen Con, I ended up having to check a bag. I ended up checking a bag because I had my ukulele with me. And if you travel with an instrument, your instrument counts as your overhead thing.
Your
most of
personal
the time.
item.
Yeah. So you have to. That
This
is
was
a tiny bag.
This is the only thing that I took with me, and
That's
that doesn't
impressive.
leave. Well, sorry, that and like my camera bag, because I couldn't fit. I wasn't going to put the DSLR in there, but that thing was basically full of lithium batteries. And I'm like, look, you can put it under the plane if you want to, but that's not a good idea for anybody.
It's not going to end well.
Right? So I don't generally as a creator as well, like the last thing I ever want to do is go to a booth and say like, "Hi, I'm a content creator. Can I have some free stuff, please?"
Right.
And
Yeah, I
that's not
didn't do
obviously
that.
how you approach it, but like there's it's something that's a common enough thing that I don't want to take more things home because I have to carry that shit. Right. I'm not just checking a bag. So I'm usually really picky about the kinds of stuff that I take home. And the few things were a pigeon plushie because Danny was like, "Here you go." My 2-year-old is obsessed with birds right now, and
Hey,
my
they're
5-year-old
great.
has claimed that for herself. She's like, "Stick bird, it's a stick bird," because it's got little stick legs.
You got little
the
stick legs.
yeah, the braille dice, and then the guys, Andrew from Foam Brain Games, gave
Foam
me
Brain's great.
a set of these, and they're lantern dice, and they're just
Oh,
they
nice.
are a strange sort of layout, and they're very, very sharp, but excellent, and they're very pretty. And I plan to use them in something because we're gonna try and sit down and do some Make-A-Wish dice for Roll for Wishes next year.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
That are so Foam Brain are the guys that do the dice for Ack Inc. And everybody was really cool, and I could swear that I also have a picture with both of you from that night. Just looking at the picture that's on stream. Funny how that
Hey,
works.
There we are.
with the amazing Fish Finley.
Yes, 100%. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that was very frantically. I was just like, "Well, we never said hi, but let me take a picture with you to prove we were in a room together."
So I brought home 2 sets of dice and a couple of like stuffies and like pins and stuff. And I had an extra badge because Vixie ended up heading home on Saturday, and I'd given Vixie my badges because I got one of the special guest badges after I had already bought a badge to make sure that I could go. And of course, you can't refund them. That's not a thing. And I didn't know anybody else.
Actually.
Hmm?
I ended up selling mine because I had had a 3-day badge that I bought.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think I was gonna make the creator program, and then I was just like, "Well, fuck." And then I had a friend who was just like, "Hey, I heard, Bestie, I heard you got a badge," and I was just like, "You okay with buying it?" And they were like, "Fuck yeah!" And I was just like, "Okay, have." And then I threw it off the balcony on Friday. I didn't feel like walking down the stairs.
I ended up having that extra Sunday badge because Vixie went home early. And I'm like, all right, well, everybody that I know that's coming is already here. So I went to that PAXU Facebook page and I'm like, hey, I've got a Sunday badge for anybody that wants it. I don't want anything for it. Just like if you need it, hit me up. Let me know. And somebody took me up on it right away and was like, yes, I absolutely need the thing. And he's like, also, are you a content creator? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, cool. I'm a publisher. So I was running a game and he handed me a hardcover book. It's called Alloyed RPG Core Essentials.
Oh.
And yeah, I've never, it's going to Kickstarter.
I've heard about it in passing, I feel like. It sounds familiar.
It's like a D20 system. I haven't read through it too terribly much. It's by Steve Lorch, is the editor-in-chief. I connected with this person on Facebook, and I'm gonna run it and see how it goes. But I ended up having a hardcover book that I needed to put into my carry-on unexpectedly, and I'm like, Matt, can you fit some underwear in your suitcase? And he's like, fucking hate you, man. It's okay, Matt. It's just the stuff I've been wearing for 4 days of con. It's fine. Just take that.
Poor guy. Now going to take the book.
Hey, it's a dumpster fire. It's a dumpster fire on screen. That was amazing. I feel
did
like
love
somebody
seeing
ripped
the
somebody
giant
off
one.
There. Yeah. But there's a picture of Ryan too. But no, it was a good time. I think I'm really happy I went to PAX Unplugged, given that it's smaller. I think the next one I'm going to do is probably PAX West because Seattle is like barely getting peanuts on a plane from Calgary.
There you go.
It's a very, very quick hop, skip, and a jump. So next year we're gonna do GCC in June, and we'll do Gen Con in August, and then Fall Con in August, and RPGA Con in October, and then probably PAX West, I think, which is going to be good. I don't know if you guys ever do the Canadian circuit for cons or anything, but it's worth the trip most of the time.
Never been to Canada, but
Me
I have a lot
either.
of friends that live up there, so I need to make my way up there at some point.
It's worthwhile. It's the conventions are sizably smaller except for the expos, like the Toronto Expo, the Calgary Expo. Those are packed. Like Gen Con is bad. Expo is worse.
Ooh.
Like it's a lot.
Mental note: don't go to an expo in
Scary notion.
It is a thing.
Gen Con was a lot. Oh my gosh.
At the very least, they're not during like exposure timelines, so it's okay. Because like trying to do, I got on the plane and it was -25 here, and I got off the plane in Philly and I'm like, oh, it's +6. This is t-shirt weather. This is fucking great. I didn't need a coat. I didn't need shit. This is awesome.
I was freezing.
We had such a good conversation about freedom units of temperature based on this. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not feel bad walking around in the smoking jacket and a tank top.
Yeah, no, it was great. I brought a flannel for a coat, and I had a little like puffy coat with me that compresses down to a softball, because it's light, it's easy, and every time that I go to the Marriott, I take my coat and I puff it up into a softball and I clip it to the back of my belt and walk around.
There you go.
And I didn't have to worry about like stashing my coat somewhere. It worked out pretty good. So, but yeah, I appreciate Grace the effort that you put into the song that played on our starting soon.
Thank you.
It was excellent.
It kind of accidentally became my con tradition. We're 3 for 3 now because I wrote a song after PAXU last year, and that's what got me nominated for a fucking Crit Award, actually, because Wes, because I was already friends with Wes. I officially, like, I say I've been doing this for about a year now, and when I say that, I mean I've been specifically like hit the ground running after PAXU, after kind of floundering around and doing fuck all on Twitch for like a year or two.
Yep.
I was in college. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just being weird. Like
yeah.
And then so I wrote a song called Touch the Sky, and then Wes liked it so much that he covered it. And that's the version that's on Spotify, and that's the version that got us nominated for the Crit Award.
Nice.
Cried so hard when I got that email in June.
Do you have any of your stuff published on Spotify?
Yeah, it is all under my handle. It's under Ghostlight G. I have
when I looked you up on
6 songs
Discord,
out.
when I followed your link on Discord, it led to your personal profile, not to your like I'm an artist thing.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. You can't. I don't know how to link the artist profile to Discord. I'll be real.
You can throw it in the chat for people.
I can.
Yeah, because I was going to add it to some playlists.
More. Oh, thank you. That's not my artist profile. That's just my profile.
that's just a person.
Speaking of, there may or may not allegedly be something coming out around the holiday season that I'm only kind of half allowed to talk about because it was technically a commission. What the fuck am I doing? Oh, right. Immediately forgot. Hi.
It was interesting. You say like fucking around on Twitch. So we make our own regular content aside from doing the whole like working for charities thing, because Logomancy primarily, like all of my spoons go into working with our charity partners. We've got a bunch of them. We run games, we organize events, kind of like the Roll for Wishes thing that we did this year. and have done for the last couple of years now. And it was interesting because like follower count is very, very low for the actual content that I put out. I think we're like sub 1,000 or something like that. And I get to do so many cool things with so many creative people in a lot of different spaces, despite being a really small creator. And one of the things that Ryan had said about like, I got recognized, that's a really cool thing. That happened. We were standing in line at Gus's, and somebody came up
That's
and they're like, "Oh, it's
crazy.
James. Like, hey, I really appreciate the things you do." And they start listing off like the random bullshittery content that we've made over the years, and none of the charity
Wow.
stuff. And Vixie's like, "That's like the fourth time that's happened today." And I'm like, "That's the fourth time that's happened ever."
Yeah, no, because I wasn't a content creator before like I had one TikTok blow up when I was in college where I was just like, hey, I spent 5 hours hyperfixating on obsidian and this is what the tree looks like. Basically. And that got that like it's still my highest performing TikTok and it's still like I will get basically like almost daily follows and likes from it still.
Oh.
Like that single video has carried my entire TikTok page, which is great because I am bad at posting.
I really wish that TikTok paid money to people outside of the United States.
I wish TikTok paid money.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're a Canadian creator, you don't get paid from TikTok or Spotify.
That's silly.
I was on the TikTok creator fund thing.
Whatever.
Like, yeah, and it was all right for like the first little while, but then it fell off pretty hard pretty quick.
Yeah.
And to a certain point, I was like, nah, just forget it. Just take my name off it. There's other people working harder at this than
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's although now that as I think I mentioned before we went live, I lost my day job today, so it's I'm thinking about what get rich slow schemes I'm gonna jump into next, you know?
There is that.
Yeah.
I don't recommend content creation as a get rich slow strategy because you get real hungry real fast.
Oh yeah.
You know.
I am considering relaunching my Twitch channel though, so
nice. Yeah. I
was a Twitch affiliate for a long time before kind of getting off that train, also, you know, messing around with what you do. What it does is one great electric bill a year was, you know, just the positives for a while out of there. But I tell you what, it's one of those things looking back on now, it's like now looking at Twitch, like I don't even do that now versus TikTok. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And come January, it's going to be a little challenging for you guys.
Yeah.
Streaming is such a fun way for me to trick my brain into thinking I'm being productive because the reality is I'm being an idiot probably and most likely playing video games, but
you know,
I'm making content technically.
My therapist said something that sticks with me. And it's like you need to make time for you because like I'm not a full-time content creator. I have a day job. And I've got two little kids and I run a media company on the side that is a full-time day job. So like aside from like being just a little guy on the internet, we run a bunch of like we work with different companies, we run charity events and like run their discords and do all of their event management and social media planning and stuff like that for them. We do liaison work with different companies and bring them in as ambassadors or like hit people up for donations, find partners to work with. That's the whole point of like doing PAX and Gen Con is talking to a lot of these companies. It's like, have you ever wanted to partner with a charity doing a thing? And it's like, I don't want your stuff. I just like, I want your buy-in on things. I want you to show up and play some games. And some of the most successful stuff that we've been able to do are things like the community manager games. So we'll take the community manager from Kobold Press and Paizo and Steve Jackson Games and Chaosium, and you all sit at a table together and play an indie TTRPG that nobody's ever heard of for charity. Because everybody needs a little hope right now, and there's nothing more inspiring more solidarity than seeing four competing companies, or the faces of four competing companies, sitting at a table together and just cooperating, and also supporting an indie artist of some kind, right?
Fuck yeah, dude.
And that kind of stuff works out really well. But we also do stuff like I run workshops for folks looking to get into the industry or learn how to do mixing or things like that. So we'll get 50 kids and their moms that come and show up being like, I want to play video games for a living. And then we also get like 25 retired people that are like, what's this streaming thing? Because I'm bored. Like, I have nothing left to do. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
And just like focusing on the whole, like, hey, look, less than a fraction of 1% of streamers actually make more than minimum wage for the amount of hours that they put into it. Like, this is not a thing that is going to pay for the games that you want to play, never mind keep you fed. Like, so we talk about different things, like how do you build a community and how do you like build a brand. Like I went to school for marketing and stuff.
Yeah.
But the really fulfilling thing is working with like we had these two ladies that just wanted to do cross stitch and crochet.
Oh.
And they're like, how do I turn this into the streaming? And I'm like, all right, let's do this. We bring a bunch of equipment into a public library, and I'm like, we're gonna sit you at a card table. We're gonna put a top-down Logitech webcam facing your hands. Do you ever want your face on screen? Absolutely not. Okay, that's fine. Here are two little lapel mics that you guys can run into your computer just with a USB port. And your buy-in on this is like $80 because here you go. And it's just like their hands and their teacups right there, and they're just granny gabbing and showing people how to crochet.
Up down stuff.
That's amazing.
Usually that has a phone mount on it because somebody was just like, you can use Video Ninja and then just put it into OBS and you can just have your phone up there. And I was like, that is way easier than getting another camera.
Or even easier than that, you just install Droid Cam and you use your phone to Droid Cam and pick it as a second thing in OBS. And you can have two of them running at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's so helpful because I do. Occasionally I was doing like craft streams because I blitzed like, I think want to say like 27 little crochet pieces right before PAXU that I was giving to like close friends of mine. And I was just like, hi, I'm tired and my hands are shaky as a motherfucker. What's up?
Watch me crochet.
And so I didn't even stream. I haven't streamed, like I streamed for the first time in forever coming back from PAX because I was like, I'm ready to get back to doing it. I haven't done it in forever. I will feel better once I start doing it again. Because it's how I play video games now because I don't have time to play. I play a lot of JRPGs. I don't got time for that shit between a full-time job and trying to pour whatever little energy I have left into this.
Well, that's what I was talking about with the therapist thing, where she's like, you've got a lot on the go, and when are you taking time for yourself? And I'm like, she's like, when's the last time you played a video game? And I'm like for content or for like me? And she's like, just knowingly stares at me. I'm like, for me, got it. So it's been a while since before my children were born. That's a thing. And it's like, if I don't have anything on the go for a Monday night, I still keep my stream night, and my wife puts the kids to bed. I come downstairs and I'm like, we're playing Zelda tonight. Let's go.
There you go.
And I might stream to 2 people. I might stream to 25 people. It doesn't matter. I'm just playing video games and talking to people in chat.
I've been getting myself back into reading because that's big. Like that's a big thing for me. Is like I was a really big reader as a kid, fell off of it because school murdered my love of reading.
ADHD, hey.
Yay.
Yeah.
And then I was just like my friend introduced me to the Stormlight Archive in college, which I had originally started reading a little bit out of spite because you wouldn't shut up about it. And I was just like, Matthew, I love you. I will read this so you stop bothering everybody. And now I'm that person that goes around being like, have you read this book series?
I have not.
It is so good.
I own it.
Don't entirely recommend starting with Stormlight because the books are stupid long. Love you, Brandon Sanderson. Holy fucking shit. But because Wind and Truth is out, I've been making the time to read again because I know, and I've been trying, and I need
that on a red hat that says "Make time to read again."
I've been on a snail's crawl, like a snail's pace, reading it because when Rhythm of War was out, I finished Rhythm of War in 3 or 4 days.
That's like the Wheel of Time for me. I could crank through one of the Wheel of Time books, and that was my introduction to Brandon Sanderson. Was him stepping in and like finishing it off for Robert Jordan. And I realized that like Sanderson's writing style was very compatible with what I needed out of like from an author, right? I don't know if any of the three of you have read The Wheel of Time at all. But
it is on my very, very, very long list of books to read.
The first 3 books are great, and then Penguin Publishing House screwed Robert Jordan over, and we're like, they said, we didn't mean 3 books, we said 13. See, look, here we have the only copy of the contract, and it clearly says 1-3, not 3. So the next 3 books he just phoned in and were terrible, and then he started liking writing again. And the last 3 books were written by Brandon Sanderson using his notes as he passed. And the correct word to use here is masturbatory, because you have to understand that The Wheel of Time, I started reading it as a child, and I'm 38, and it just finished here a couple of years ago. So it's been a long time coming. And so there's a lot of plot lines that I started reading in the early 90s. And I'm like, I guess I'll figure out what happened there 20 years later. So Sanderson comes in like a big old man swinging a big stick, and he's like, guess what I'm going to give you? You dirty, dirty boy. Every single chapter, I'm going to give you tension and release. And somebody's going to die. One kind of plot hook's going to be resolved, and you're going to like it. And the next chapter is going to be it again and again and again and again, over and over, for 4,000 pages.
What a descriptor.
And by the end of it, you're going to need a cigarette lit from a magically questionable pipe.
Yeah. If you've never read the Stormlight Archive books, by the way, they are 12 to 1,300 pages each. I read one of those in like 3 days. So I know that when I actually have time to sit down and actually read Wind and Truth, I will fucking blitz my way all the way through it. I just have I got a vlog to edit for the convention that we were all just at. Like
I laugh so much because your description now is like a vibe feeling that what I have for the Sword of Truth series with Terry Goodkind. Yep. It's very much a similar kind of like, all right, I'm going to make Wizard's first rule. You know what the second rule is? Yep. Nope. But we're going to get there. Don't you worry. And I'll just keep making more rules as we go along. It's going to just keep working out.
I felt the same way about the Belgariad. Like that was the first fantasy series I ever read. David Eddings. And it's very much like Hero's Journey. Like, you're a small boy, and there's all of these big important people around you that fit very specific character archetypes, like big sword man, very pretty sorceress lady, old man who happens to be wizard. Like, guess what? You're the chosen one, TM. And, you know, yada, yada, yada. And they're very predictable, but in the like gooey nougaty part of my brain where I'm like, the thing that I'm expecting to happen just happened, and it makes my brain go brrr. Like,
I love reading. It makes me happy to be reading again, and it's but at the same time, I had a coworker, right? I'm very asexual. I don't know if you could tell by the half-hung flag in the background or the many things about me. But hi, I'm very aro ace, right? Yeah. I had a coworker who knew that I really loved fantasy, saw me bring the Bible that is one of the Brandon Sanderson Stormlight Archive books with me, because they are big ass books. I could kill a man with that book in a
Yes.
video game, Twitch. And my coworker was just like, "Oh, you like fantasy? You should read A Court of Thorns and Roses." And I was
No, you
just like,
shouldn't.
the fucking fairy porn book? Like, I was like, that's
Nobody
my
needs
frustration.
to read that.
That's my frustration with fantasy right now, is that a lot of fantasy that is popular, and I'm happy that fantasy is popular, but a lot of fantasy that is popular is not good.
Look, it's the 50 Shades of Fantasy. That is the equivalency book there.
I don't want smut. I want cool battles.
No, here's the thing. Like, I started reading Laurel K. Hamilton's Anita Blake series way back when, and she invented the whole like werewolf vampire love tryst with a human girl long before, like, Anne Rice did what she did in a bunch of different books, but this was way before Twilight and way before a lot of things. But she did it in a cool way where it's like, guess what? You're an animator. You're a necromancer, and you get your powers through voodoo. And guess what? Vampires think that's fucking cool, and they're just a little bit like anxious about what you're gonna make them do. And there was always just this tension around like, she could make you do whatever she wants to, bud. And in that very same accent.
Still a better love story than Twilight.
Still a better love story than Twilight. And then like 5 or 6 books in, she's like, you know what sells really, really well? When I start talking about how girthy things are. And then from there, the series is just smut all the way through, but reasonable. Like it's still a good read. A Court of Rose and Thorns or whatever, ACOTAR, is just bad.
It's bad. It's bad. There's a lot of books that I've been recommended that are just bad, and I'm like, there was one person in my life, and it's my friend that recommended me the Stormlight Archive, who can recommend. There's exactly one person in my life who can recommend me anything, and I will likely not question it at all, and I will go ahead and read or watch it, because like, he introduced me to Freerun, right? He introduced me to Stormlight. This person has been playing D&D with me longer than anybody. This is a friend of mine who's not a content creator, who's recently, and by recently I mean like 6 months ago, I want to say. That might be too much. 4 months ago? I don't know. Time doesn't exist.
Time is a weird soup.
My friend has a girlfriend now, is the point. And he has agreed to read one of said not great fantasy books in exchange for her reading The Lord of the Rings for the first time. And I said to him, I was just like, you must really like your girlfriend.
And if she agrees to read Lord of the Rings, then she must really like him.
This goes both ways, but I was, knowing that friend, I was just like, you must really like your girlfriend.
I tried fucking around with audiobooks like a year ago. And because I'm like, I don't have a whole lot of time to read. I just lay awake at night because, you know, ADHD does a thing. I'm like, so Audible exists, and I've got a bunch of free credits for stuff. So let's grab Wheel of Time, because it's long. I'll get my money's worth, because that's where the brain goes. And I can't do it because I'd crank out one of those books in like 2 days of sitting down and just going like, you know, I speed read.
My little hack for myself is that I re-downloaded the Kindle app on my phone. And so instead of doom scrolling or reading AO3, I'll go onto the Kindle app and I'll continue reading whatever the fuck I was reading.
Yeah.
Which is also how, because like a lot of, like, I have a Kindle which I bought out of pure necessity, because
I use a Kobo, but same. Yeah.
All the books I read are stupid long, and I'm not strong.
Not with that attitude. You got to be lifting every day, just like Sanderson tomes. Right?
Could you imagine? Just
Yeah. Oh, did you see the one from Nerd Forge where they did all of his books? They presented them
I
to him
have
at
seen that.
yeah,
My
and they're
friend
like,
was my friend was at Dragonsteel doing the whole like card game
Yeah.
and like the Dragonsteel fucking crazy. I would love to go to a convention that does that. If anybody doesn't know, hi, we've long since entered hyperfixation territory. I'm sitting up for this shit. So Dragonsteel is an entire convention dedicated to Brandon Sanderson
Oh my god.
because there was a lot of people that were very autistic about these books. He's written a shit ton of books too, but also because the Cosmere is the Cosmere, it's crazy. The entire expanded universe, all of the books in the Cosmere are connected, and Stormlight is where all of those come together. So Elantris, Mistborn, all that shit is like combined. It's great. It's really cool. It's very confusing if you're jumping into it for the first time. But at Dragonsteel, they had this system to really get people interacting, socializing with people, but also participating in every con activity that you possibly could, because they had these cards that you could put into a binder and they would give you an exclusive short story and also exclusive artwork. They also had a passport stamp system. There was more that I'm not recalling off the top of my head, but like you basically got like a quest log and you would receive tangible
cool.
free rewards for it for participating in this shit. And I was just like, that is like everybody who's been there and every influencer that I follow that went to that convention, because they're not tabletop people, has been like, this shit is the coolest thing I've ever seen at a convention. And I was just like, if it wasn't the same weekend as PAX Unplugged, I'd be there in a million years. I'd be here in a heartbeat. It'd be so cool.
I want to sit down and read Stormlight. But again, my reading time, physical reading time is very limited. And with audiobooks, I tried it. And
it's hard.
Well, I put my headphones in. My wife would go to sleep. I stay up a little later because I snore, and I let her fall asleep. That's our bargain. It's our agreement. It's how it works. And I don't end up murdered because of it. So everybody wins. And I'm like 5 days into this book, and I'm like, how the fuck am I on chapter 3? Like, this is at 2 times speed. What is going on? And I couldn't unhook myself from like, I should be further along at this point. This is very inefficient for a book I've already read. Like
I've also tried with audiobooks. I loved audiobooks when I was a kid, and then my reading speed is, as we've noted, ridiculous when I actually have the time to sit down and read. So I can't, because my brain too zoomy.
My brain too zoomy. That if I had faster speeds, like it's like actual plays. Like I don't watch a lot of actual plays. I fell off the Critical Role stream at like 30 episodes into campaign 3. And I'm like, I just don't have time. And
you made it further into campaign 3 than I did. I made it 1 episode in. I watched all of EXU Calamity, and then I gave up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I just and it's not a failing of them or anything like that. I just like I got busy and I didn't feel any kind of a connection with the story, and I'm like, I don't know why I care right now. And I didn't feel that about campaign 2. It was good. I was immediately like, this is really cool. I like this.
I found a lot of it was I didn't connect with the characters right away.
Yeah. They didn't have a ginger wizard that is basically my whole identity.
But like
sad boy with cat.
I immediately clicked with most of the, like a good chunk of the characters in campaign 2. Because I remember it being like, oh, this guy, I fuck with this guy. I will now make this person my entire personality for the next month.
Right.
No. I don't know. There was something magical about campaign 2, because that was the case for a lot of people. Like there's the magic of campaign 1, but like campaign 2 was the first time we got to see these people play from beginning to end.
Right.
And I think that was part of it. And there was something about the characters that they all brought to the table that was just like that secret sauce for Critical Role. EXU Calamity is like the closest I've gotten to that feeling again.
Calamity is how I run that. That format was very much like based on Dropout, right? That's like 16 hours worth of content edited down. But that's how I run most of my Monday night streams, because I don't ever want to do the whole like these are the same 5 people for 3 years, because there are too many cool people in this industry, and we all stream on the same goddamn night. And it's like, cool, we're streaming, we're using a system that you don't really like. I guess I'll never play with you. So instead, we did the whole we call it TTRPG Showcase. Our Legends of Logomancy series, our TTRPG Showcase.
Oh yeah.
So every 4 weeks, we change everybody at the table and the system, where it's like, I want to run Eldritch Automata, and here's the story that I want. Here's the time that I want to run it. Who's on board? We have 65 or 70 creators in our Discord that can just like raise their hand to say, my Mondays are free for the next 4 weeks. Cool. I'll sit in, or 2 weeks, or 1 week, or I just want to run a one shot of Eldritch Feelings next week kind of thing. And we use a big shared calendar. We fill it up. And you get to there's a pro and a con to it, because you get to try different systems. There's no like investment into your characters for stuff. You're trying a thing out. We partner with a bunch of different like Kickstarters that are like, hey, I made a system. Would you try it on your show? And I say, yes, absolutely. I will try this system and teach people how to play it. I will host the thing because you're sponsoring it. But sometimes it leads to the 4 people that showed up don't make up a terribly diverse table. Right? Because they were the 4 people that had a Monday night free, but we put out so much content and have like a good like diverse set of casting for everything else that we do, that it's one of those things where it's like the good with the bad. There's entirely too much out there where it's like everybody kind of looks like me and Owen. And I'm always really conscious about like kind of traversing that without ever getting the ick, because it's one of those things.
Basically all my friends are white man creators, and I love them all dearly. But I ran a Goat Crashers one shot for Halloween. And I'm legally not a GM. I love playing in games. I like to think that I am a pretty okay player. And man, GMing, I don't know what I'm doing, and I know the only way to do it to fix that is to be better, do it more. But also, I like playing more. But
so I did something similar on my Twitch channel. I had a show called One Shot Firing Range, where it was it was a weekly show, and every week we played a different game. It was a lot of fun in some regards. It means we got to blast through a lot of games and find out like which games like are genuinely like great for one shots. And some of them are really great for one shots. Some of them are really not very good for one shots.
Yeah.
Sometimes we figured that out the hard way, but the hard part with that is that, again, and doing everything in our power to have as diverse a table as humanly possible. That was part of it. The other part of it is like, because the whole name of the game is to try to showcase games that are not Dungeons and Dragons, the games that everybody's heard of, even like we kept it to not D&D.
Yeah.
That was our thing. Because we know that even like there's a wide swath of people out there that like, oh, I've only played D&D. I've heard of Vampire the Masquerade, but I've never played it, and I want to see more about it.
Vampire's not a one-shot game.
No, it is not.
No, it's not.
Lasers and Feelings is a one-shot game.
Yes. And the other thing about it is that because I was the GM for it every time, with a handful of exceptions, I burnt myself out
Yeah.
real bad.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still kind of recovering from the burnout of that, and I haven't done one-shot firing range in a year and a half at this point.
Well, and the nice thing is those games I don't necessarily have to be on camera for. Sometimes I just produce it. Because somebody wants to run something and I wasn't interested in playing that game, I don't have to worry about it. And if one of the players is one of the 2 other people on our channel that can produce and like do all the mixing and the pre-production, I get a night off. It's great. We're still putting content out and I didn't have to do anything. It's fantastic. That said, if you guys ever want to come and play some games, you are more than welcome.
Absolutely.
On a channel, I'll send you an invite to our Discord, and all of January is going to be we're playing Mega Man.
Do I just need to bite the bullet and fucking buy Nitro? Because I've been at the cap for like 3 months now.
I keep killing servers as I go, and where I'm like,
I've been doing that too because I've refused to pay for Nitro, but at this point I get invited to like 4 or 5 servers at a time for different projects, and I'm like, I love you all dearly.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I think that's the key right now for me is now I am also getting invited to ones because Discord is becoming so prevalent and other things. I'm getting invited ones for my kids, like kids' school, my kids' esport team. All the parents, you all need to be there too. And so it's like
it's replaced Facebook as a parent. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was jokingly saying to my friend, I was just like, I got so many bitches at PAXU because I got a lot of my friends' phone numbers that I only had on Discord. Because I was like, if it's a text message, I'm more likely to not just kind of brush it off to the side as like, this is a thing for work that I need to look at later, or this is just a server that is that somebody decided to be that person and ping everybody to be like, hello, it's my birthday. I've been in a server like that. It was the worst. I left it so quickly. But because Discord is like socializing, but it's also work now for me. It's great, but a lot of shit gets buried very quickly, even in DMs and even with like notifications turned off in the majority of the servers that I'm in.
Yeah.
So a lot of my friends, I made a lot of I didn't make them. A lot of my friends and I exchanged phone numbers because I was just like, this is the fastest way to reach me for anything because that's not going to get buried underneath 80,000 other notifications that I'm going to have to check by the end of the day because I can't check. I don't when I'm at work. I don't really check. I don't check Discord because I just get too many pings throughout the day that I'm like, I'm busy. Stop needing me.
I have to really meticulously go through and set my notifications on like turn off everyone, turn off mentions, turn off rules. And I deliberately will follow like that one specific channel over in the Chera TTRPG one. And then that server goes into a folder. And if I see a notification in that folder, I know there's something in there that I care about right now. And if it's not on my radar for this month, it's not in that folder.
I literally have a folder that, because you can change like the little highlight color for a folder so it stands out.
Yeah.
I have one that's just current projects.
Yes.
And anything that I'm like anytime like Rolling for Charity was in there. And then I moved it into just like the big TTRPG folder, and I was just like, I'm going to hope so badly that nobody needs to ping me for anything. Although I have pings for that one turned on for like the announcements because I needed to.
Yeah.
Because they would be like, hey, dumbass, your call time is this. And I'm like, right.
I only leave on the like, you have to specifically be like at my username for it to show me a red ping.
Yeah.
Right. I don't aside from the Discord servers that we manage like as a company, that's a different story. Like those exist at the top with mentions and stuff turned on, and I have to look at them every day. It's a thing. But for the ones that are like, this is my friend's server, and that's that other creator server or content collective that I'm a part of, unless you actually ping me directly, I don't see shit because I don't have time. It's just not a thing. But that said, Owen, you had one job, and it was to not turn into a pumpkin by the time it hit like 11 p.m. your time, and you did it. You made it, man.
Hey,
I know. It's one of those things.
Go.
I have to get children on a bus at a terrible time in the morning, but not figurative enough.
So
yeah,
we're gonna raid out and
Cool.
find somebody that's streaming right now, because I need Owen to get some sleep. And do you guys have any friends that are streaming tonight?
Let's see. Who is
'Cause I do.
streaming?
Blackwater just went live.
But you know who else is streaming?
Dorkdale's is
Meister
live.
Hypester.
I saw
don't-
Meister
I
Hypester was
don't
up
know
too. Yeah,
Meister.
I do.
Meister Hypester is Jack.
Excuse me.
He's doing a whole bunch of the art for our Bluey one shot on Friday.
Oh, you were
with-
talking about that.
Yeah, with so that's going to be on my Twitch, and then D&D Shorts' channel, and Colby from D4 Deep Dives YouTube channel. We're just going to multi-stream it. And if it's anything like the Battle for the 100 Acre Woods that we did a couple of months ago, it's going to be redonkulous. Like truly shenanigans. Oh, that is not an invalid username. I totally know how to spell. 1 second.
Imagine spelling. Couldn't be me.
Yeah.
Discovering the for you unreads and mentions little inbox corner. If you've
Mhm.
never heard of what I'm talking about on Discord and the desktop client,
Yeah.
right? Or if you're in like the web client, anything that's not on your phone, they have a little thing up in the corner that's your inbox, and you can
Yes.
just mark everything as read, and it
Yep.
just clears away everything. Unfortunately for me, I am in enough, because a lot of the servers I'm in, because Wes was yelling at me, not yelling, he was yelling at me, because he was just like, you don't need to be in 100 servers. And I was just like, but a lot of them are for mods.
Yeah.
And ROM hacks that I follow, so I can have the updates and they actually work. So I can play my randomizers like a silly little guy.
I love it. Thank you, friends, for coming and hanging out and
lovely.
Awesome.
sacrificing your sleep to be EP boys in the morning. It's a good time.
Where the hell am I going? You know?
It'll be all right.
I know.
We're gonna raid over to Meister Hypester, who's doing some live art right now, and is actively sending me overlays and things for our game on Friday,
Let's
because
go.
they asked for a deadline and I gave it to them. Quickly, because we got like 8 seconds, we have Grace, we have Owen, we have Will, and I'm gonna advance their little doodad thingamajiggers, and it's going to make them appear the way that they're supposed to. And we've already rated out. Son of a bitch. That's all good. It's just Owen's that was last. It caught it for everybody else.
Run!
Damn it,
Run,
Owen!